Congratulations, Ron, and all the ownership team, and congratulations to Team Ryan. They did a great job with that filly in her 2 and 3 year old year, and as she was a mare, she became even better. The third and final induction tonight, and I'll ask Peter again to say a few words, is Garry Glover.
Now, this is a bit of a surprise to Garry Glover, although by now he probably twigged that this is going to happen. But Garry rode over 1,000 winners. He started his apprenticeship in Victoria. He was apprenticed at 15. At 16, he started riding winners. He was riding against the likes of Roy Higgins, Ron Quinton, Harry White, and winning races against those jockeys. Weight became a problem for Garry, and then eventually injuries that he sustained in falls and those things virtually stopped him from making it to the top level interstate. But Brian Courtney, his trainer, said, "Go to Tassie, son. You'll be a star over there," and he did. So where is Garry? Is he going to come up tonight or not? There he is. Come on, go over that side, Garry. Go on, up here. Up here. Come up the championship side. Just jump on the other side, Garry. I'll lower the microphone for you. There you go.
This is a big surprise.
Here's the microphone.
Big surprise. I've come over yesterday, and I'm thinking, today I'm there. A mate of mine from Melbourne, David Trethen's here, multiple group owner in Melbourne, and his mate, John Honeychurch, which his father was Bert Honeychurch, which was a leading trainer in the Riverina area for years. And then tonight I'm standing up there having a drink, coming in, and here's Stevie Burridge, the leading trainer in, now Singapore's finished, but Singapore for the last 10 years, and I thought, why am I here? And then all these other friends are here, and I thought, something's going on. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I spoke to Garry's wife, Jerry, and this was in the making, what, a month now? And they were overseas in Thailand. And we were communicating. And I wondered whether or not you're going to think, oh no, Jerry's got a boyfriend, with all the communication that we had. But he actually thought that he was coming over here to be interviewed by me for a series called Where Are They Now? And funny you should say it, but that is actually going to happen. It'll be in about 6 months' time when we start it. But being inducted into the Hall of Fame, Garry, you adopted Tasmania.
Yep.
And when I arrived here from Melbourne in 1982, you were well entrenched, and you and Stubbsy were really making a mark. Just take us through that period of time when you really started to hit your straps here in Tassie.
Well, Alan, I always liked riding for Alan because he'd have 60 horses in work, you know, and then he moved to Osmarston and he was buying horses, you know, from Sydney, everywhere, and I thought, he's the man to go, because just the way he trained, he didn't knock them around, like it wasn't a punt and stable or anything, so they just raced and won. But Alan's a pretty hard man to ride. If you were 5 minutes late, the whole he used to say to me, "You're late, so everyone's late for the whole day." An old farmer, hard man, and a lot of people knew what Alan was like, you know. But no, we had a pretty good relationship for a good 3 years or 4 years, and a lot of other. And as Alan's passed on, and I was rode for Murray Long and a few other guys, and there's a few guys tonight, John Blacker, Barry Campbell, I rode winners for them. So, yeah, I had a pretty good run there for a while.
You had a Newmarket winner, Batman Lane.
Yep, for Barry, yep. And I won a few, you know, like Guineas and the good 2-year-old races. And, yeah, over time, I rode a lot of winners. And then I rode overseas, and Mauritius and Singapore and Malaysia and those areas. Yeah, so I was pretty lucky. I rode in Tehran.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Tehran. How long did that last?
A
week?
No, it lasted about a year there, and then the Shah left, and they're still fighting from there. But that was they built this race course in the desert, and it was A-class race course. And the guy named Stanley O, which owns the floating casino. He's in with Packer and all them now. He was only a young guy, he's 37 when he built it, and it was millions of dollars, you know, and they were just buying horses all around the world and racing there. But because it was a Muslim country, it was hard to get, people didn't want to pay to go to the races, yeah, but it all folded up. But yeah, so.
What are your feelings about Tasmania? Because obviously it meant a lot to you.
Oh yeah, well, I come over here to ride for Gordon Jennings, and that's where. And my wife, her dad was Claudie Best, who trained for Gordon Jennings. So that's how I ended up in Tasmania. And then later on, we sort of got our horses ourselves. We bred. Geraldine's uncle was John Best, had a lot of good horses. He passed on, and we brought a mare from the family, which was Petite Rousseau, went on to win the Tasmanian Oaks and the Guineas, and very good mare. And we done pretty good out of her for a $5,000 investment. She won over $300,000. We sold her for $100,000 at the sales in Melbourne, so she was pretty good.
I heard you got a good quid out of her in the Tassie Oaks as well when Huey Bowman came over to ride.
Yeah, we got Huey over, and yeah, we done pretty well out of that.
Did you buy a motel?
No, we sort of leased them out. I'd moved to Albury, and so we left the mare here with Mark Ganson, and she went on and won the Oaks, and Mark done a ripper job with her. Yeah, so life's, yeah.
You turned your hand to training as well, and how did you handle that, moving from a jockey to a trainer?
I really loved it, you know. I like horses. I started apprenticeship at 15. I was breaking horses in from the time I was 15, and, you know, good horses for a long time. So I knew the game. I could do everything myself. The only thing I couldn't do was shoe a horse. I was hopeless. But I could do the lot, and Petite was like, yeah, and I had Midnight Brew. They were handy little horses, so it was good fun. So when I went to Albury, I took a couple up. We left Petite because we thought she could be a good staying mare. And yeah, so I had a bit of fun. But the business got too hard for me to do both. So, but often wished I still kept training because I really I loved the horses. And, yeah. And
still time, mate. Still time.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is.
Never say never.
No. But it's a bit hard these days because the rules are changed, and yeah, it's a pretty hard game.
I bet they have. Well, I must say one thing, and you had a bit of a reputation. Do you still smoke?
No.
You don't smoke, right?
No.
Well, I can tell you that a lot of jockeys who did smoke, and most jockeys do smoke because it helps with the weight and all those sort of things and whatever, bad for their health, but they all did. In most days, I reckon probably 80% of jockeys smoked. Well, Garry had a reputation, and one jockey, and I ran into him last week, Corey Kingston,
right.
young apprentice, right?
Yep.
And he said, I can't believe Garry Glover, God, he was always botting smokes off everyone. They call him the bot.
I was a bit of a tight ass like that, yeah.
I thought I'd mention it.
Yeah.
But look, overall, your career, you rode some great horses.
Yep.
And you also suffered a fair few injuries. And
yeah.
for someone who did have so many injuries, you're doing pretty well on your legs.
I think, yeah. Well, I've got a good family behind me, and getting this tonight, it's really, you know, I'm quite honoured to get it, because when you get out of racing, you go away, you know, people forget you, and be brought tonight to get this, I'm very, very honoured. And I must say, I've got grandchildren here, they all couldn't come, but there's two little ones over there snuck in, and that's at least they can, you know, go back in time and say, oh, Papa won this, Papa won that. Yeah, so, but I did ride a good mare, and she was very, like a bitch to ride, but the harder you rode her, the more she gave, and she, you know, ears back and so, and that's, her name was Geraldine. That's my wife.
Now, we weren't going to let that one sneak in, Geraldine, but even though it's televised, we got an A rating for that, or an X rating, I should say.
And she's still going around.
Oh, she's still right. Well done. I think it might be time to finish. But look, really, one of the things about the Hall of Fame, as Garry alluded to, as jockeys from the past, when they go and do something else and retire and so forth, people do tend to forget. But the Hall of Fame has a way of etching their name into history. And Garry Glover, you are in that group. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.